Welcome to another episode of Fave, Five from Fans, the podcast all about favorites. I'm your host, Jamie Ray, and today we're joined by I'm sorry, sir, excuse me. I was thinking Dominic was going to be on this. Is he there? Is he around? Didn't see him. If we're gonna,
He is young citizen.
Oh,
In
Dominic!
the flesh.
I didn't recognize you with the glasses and stuff. Now I get it.
They work.
They work. Welcome, Dominic Dames, to the Plastic Microphone Studios, my own little fortress of solitude, except I share and invite people in, so it's not always solitude.
Well, that happened on Smallville too. So,
So Dominic and I have a mutual friend, Nelson, and I've been looking for someone to do a Superman show with, and I like Smallville. Dominic likes Smallville. It's a marriage made on Krypton. Welcome to the show, sir.
Just glad to be here. I'm excited to do it.
Me too. So before we dive in, real quick, why Smallville? Why not Supergirl or Lois and Clark?
Oh, okay. So I was really at the right age when this came on TV. So 2001, I was in high school. So I was a sophomore. So it was like, or I was a junior, right in the middle of high school.
Uh-huh.
It was kind of the perfect storm, right? Because that's the years you're trying to find yourself. And,
Right.
My dad had introduced me to superhero shows and movies. And he had just introduced me to the Christopher Reeves movies previously, like maybe a year or two before Smallville came on. I had seen some of them here and there just growing up, but he had introduced those to me. And then Smallville debuted a year or two later. And like I said, I was the right age. And, the teen aspect worked at that time because
you were right that age. Like they're supposed to be. Yeah.
Right. And the fact that it was going to be about kind of small town and it wasn't going to be any superhero suits or tights. It appealed because at that time there wasn't a lot of superhero stuff out. So, it kind of fit the time as well. And I've always liked inspirational. I've always liked superhero. I've always liked sci-fi stuff. So, it was kind of the perfect storm. And, I became a fan right at the beginning. I watched it all the way through to the end. So,
wow.
In between there, when I was in college, he was in college.
That's
and
so
then,
cool.
yeah, it was pretty cool. And then when I got married, the show was still on. I think it was on season 8. And I watched the last few. Yeah. So my wife helped me finish it out because my dad had passed away. But my wife helped me finish it out. And it was great. I like a lot of the parallels with Superman anyway. He is my favorite one. I know he, has a tendency to be corny and straight-laced, but that's kind of how I am too. So
the big Boy Scout.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Clark played that well. He did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, great.
Yeah,
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and, I've seen interviews now with them talking, and he said at the time he didn't really know what he was doing. And that really fit the character because Clark didn't know what he was doing. And of course, Lex, still the best Lex, in my opinion. Lex Luthor was great. And, all the family aspects, the back and forth was, it was awesome.
It was awesome. I can't.
There's bad episodes in there, though. It suffered from the 22 run that they don't really do anymore.
Yeah.
If it came out today, it'd be a streamer, 10 episodes, and they'd all be awesome.
Right. And that's okay. But
yeah,
we're actually going to talk about our favorite episodes, not necessarily those ones that are chosen by the other people to be the T word that we don't say. And so to do that, I've tasked Dominic to sit down and choose his 5 favorite Smallville episodes. And I've given him the opportunity to put 2 honorable mentions. It might be on there because he just couldn't not talk about it in the 5 and he had needed one more spot. Or maybe it was so interesting that he had to talk about it. So, Dominic, did you come up with some honorable mentions?
Oh, did I? It was so hard to narrow it down.
Well, why don't you go ahead? You give us
Okay.
your 2 honorable mentions.
Okay, I got you. And real quick, just want to preface this. I tried to, because there's certain, tentpole episodes, right? Like certain finales, certain ones with certain guest stars, and it would have been really easy just to say these 5.
Right.
I tried to branch out from that and put in like some more, fan favorite ones that I really appreciated. So there's going to be what considered good that aren't on here, but these are what, my heart kind of centers around, like the ones that got to be there.
Perfect.
So you said 2 honorable mentions.
Yeah.
I am going to go with Exile as an honorable mention.
Okay.
That is, the season 3 opener, where, Clark is hid his teenage guilt in red kryptonite and ran away from home. Complete parallel to a kid diving into drugs or, doing something, unholy and leaving. But the way they did that episode, I watched it with my brother-in-law a lot. That's a fun episode. Because you get, he's the bad boy. You got the good Charlotte song playing. He's busting those ATMs up, and you got the introduction of Morgan Edge, played by the late Rutger Hauer, which he was an awesome addition to the show.
So good. Yeah.
Yeah, he was great.
We're gonna say that same thing over and over and over in this list because they had some incredible actors on this show, not just cast members but also guest stars.
Mm-hmm. And he did a great job as a crime boss on that show. The way Clark played off of him, acting like he knows more than he really does, and that I had to include it. You also have Lex marooned on the island. And by the way, spoilers, right? It's okay to spoil a show that's over 20 years old.
Well, right ahead.
So you have Lex going crazy on the island. It foreshadows him eventually killing his father. They have a clown bank heist in this that predates The Dark Knight.
That's right.
So that's pretty cool.
I think Nolan was watching that.
And then, of course, Jonathan at the end, being a Superman in his own right, going up against Clark without powers, asking Jor-El for help, which is this entity they don't really know. Is he good? Is he bad? Is he somewhere in between? Him getting the powers and saying, no, you're coming home with me. Like, the ending was awesome. Like I said, easily could have been in the 5, but I wanted to mention it.
That's a good one. That's a good, excellent use of the honorable mention.
All right, awesome. And then another one I'm going to go with is I was kind of battling between a couple. I'm going to go Reckoning.
Okay. Which one is that?
Reckoning is the one where we see the demise of Jonathan Kent.
Oh, yeah. Talk about pull the heartstrings.
Yes. Like I said,
like season 8?
No, it was 5, season 5, and it was I think it was right past the midway point. It was like right past the midway point. Awesome. I mean, being a Superman fan, seeing the Reeves movies, and that not all iterations does Jonathan die, but a lot of them he does.
Yeah.
And I'm more of a fan that he does die because, for one, it's more tragic. Mm-hmm. 2, it gives Clark more of a umph to do what he does.
Right.
And in the show, there was a built-in reason. He had a heart issue, and they kind of played with that in the one I just mentioned because he had the powers and, he had heart issues throughout the show after that Exile episode. His fight with Lionel. I'm not a huge fan of him going back in time like that.
Yeah.
And him giving Lana the crushing the coal and it's already a cut diamond, like some of that, like,
not quite how it works, but
yeah. But the way Clark plays the death of Lana, I mean, it comes across so real. Like her face looks even like kind of cracked up on the ground. Like it's very real. And obviously, if you had the ability, you'd want to go back and change that. Right. And then when Jonathan goes out, I mean, Cowboy, John Wayne, the whole nine, he does a great job with portraying that death. It's an essential part that needed to happen at some point in the series. And dang, I mean, I hope I'm not committing a sin here, but the episode after that, when they show him on the tractor and he said, this guy's a man, he's a man of steel or whatever he says after, like, and that pulls at the heartstrings, especially with losing my dad a few years before that. Had to be in there.
Yeah. So, you know, Schneider lived just down the road from us, probably closer to you, right? You're kind of between
he does. He has a big place in Louisiana.
Denham Springs, I think.
And he has like a little like bungalow, or he has some kind of a thing, because I've seen him on Michael Rosenbaum's podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he's been on there a couple times.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, and he seems like a awesome, down to earth guy. Like, you know, from what we can tell, he seems like a great guy.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Well, and what I like about him, is he played the way he talks about playing the character is he had a kid with special needs. And that's the way he approached Clark. And I'm like, that's perfect. You know, not to get too personal, but one of my kids, I have 3 kids, one of them is special needs, and I can totally see that angle, you know, because you can't treat Clark like you would a typical kid. And that makes it more real, you know. Right. I know it's you know, sci-fi and all that, but when I'm watching it, I like to pretend it's real. And awesome episode. Sorry.
Awesome. No, great picks. And stop apologizing. Doing great. I will smack you if you need to pull it back. You're doing great, sir. You're doing super.
There you go.
It'll be so many puns. I hope you're ready. So I also have 2 honorable mentions.
Real quick, I had to show that off.
Awesome. That's the new stuff. I'll show you my tattoo later.
Awesome. Off air or on air?
Oh, you can see right now. It's a Kingdom Come Superman tattoo.
Nice.
Yeah. That was my second time. But anyway, that's enough. So my first honorable mention is the last episode finale. Ooh. There was so much going on in this. You've got Planet Apocalypse about to crash into Earth. You've got the wedding. You've got Oliver possessed by Darkseid. With all of this going on, Tess gets kidnapped by Lionel. The Lionel from Earth 2.
The other Earth, yeah, that's right.
And you get the whole thing's 2 parts. So at the very end, we finally get to see him pull that shirt off, and I mean open, and then there's the S right there. The only thing that could have made that episode any better, in my opinion, would have been for us to see him actually fly. And I know that contractually and all of that stuff, they couldn't. But man, just when they pulled it open, we sees that he was Superman. And I thought, after 10 seasons, finally we get that. I thought it was a great way to leave it off, because who knows, you know, maybe they were going to do a movie with him, or maybe they were, you know, he'll come back for a miniseries. I thought he would make a great one. But I really, really enjoyed that episode because there was so much in it. The reason it's not in my 5, though, is this episode, it takes so much to watch this episode and keep up with what's going on. So a lot of the imagery I can't remember. Is this the one where Jonathan gives him the suit? Or was that?
It's pretty cool how they do that, because they both have a part.
Yes.
You know, Jor-El kind of gives him the blessing, and then Jonathan actually hands it off.
Yeah. Okay, so that was this episode. I couldn't remember if it was a little bit earlier, but that just, oh man, it gave me chills. I mean, it was so good, you know, because he is a child of 2 worlds.
Yes.
And so he has 2 fathers in those 2 worlds. So I thought it was great the way they brought him in together like that.
No, that was cool. And that whole last season, you know, you kind of get a guest star every episode, which and I like the finale as well. My only little gripes is I wish we would have got like one head to toe shot of him in the suit, you know, because they tease it a lot. You get like the cape flying behind him,
Right.
and you get the obviously the money shot, which is, I agree, the best shot when he pulls it open. And he takes out Darkseid a little too easily, but I do like how he's, yeah. But I mean, you see the bats fly away, so they could have always brought him back. And I know budget, like they didn't have the same budget they did earlier in the series. But I do like how he's floating right before that moment. It looks really cool. And then how he sees, and they, you know, spoiler alert for the new Superman, they kind of do this in a way, but I like how he sees like all the events happening around him.
Yeah.
You know, from all, you know, from the whole series, like all those moments made him who he was. And that was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a fun episode.
Yeah.
And speaking of fun, my other honorable mention is on here because of that, because it was just fun. Also from season 10, episode 15, I'm talking about Fortune, where for the bachelor party and the bachelorette party, Zatanna gives them and you don't see her, but she gives them a bottle of champagne, which she has put the whammy on for them to have a good time. And the cold opening has Clark and Chloe in bed together, fully clothed, with a scratching at the closet door that has a monkey in it. And it's just crazy. So it's all like a hangover episode.
It's the hangover episode for sure.
Is. Yeah. Nobody can remember what happened. They start to have memories of things, but it's not quite what they thought it was. And it was a lot of fun. You got to see them not be so serious about themselves. And also you got to see Chloe and Oliver's relationship. I don't want to say put to the test, but it put a strain on it. But at the end of the episode, they both came out stronger because of it. You know, I thought it was I did like some of the Zatanna episodes. I think there were two, you know, maybe
yeah,
three. But
something like that.
Yeah, just the fact that they just used her in name and magic, and like most Superman fans know, but maybe any Hungarians watching may not. That is one of the things that Superman has always been susceptible to, which is magic.
Right.
So that's why he got so drunk on it. But it's a lot of fun. Yeah. You know, they you see a lot of stuff near the end because they find a camera, and there's stuff with Lena. There's stuff with everybody, and it's
because they even have that I forget his name. I think it's like the Indian fellow that is he joins the team. He's in on it too.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember his. Emil.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because he was from Star Labs. He was from where was he from?
I'm trying to remember, but I know and they even had his character in Man of Steel. No, that actor was in Man of Steel.
Oh, really?
He's actually with the Emil Hamilton, I think he plays, right? He's with the Emil Hamilton in that movie. Just kind of a little Easter egg nugget.
That's cool. I love those.
But to your point, it is good that we kind of got a down episode, and that was towards the end of the series. What was that?
Right.
Was that 9 or 10?
That was actually it was 10, episode 15. So we're getting really close to the end. So it was a really great breath of fresh air to kind of stop and go. All of this stuff is going on, but they all went out and had a rip roaring good time and just remember it.
Yeah, and it was kind of like, hey, if we're gonna do this kind of episode, we need to do it now. Like, it was kind of the right time to give us a down episode. So that was a cool one. That was kind of a rogue one. I wouldn't have thought of that one.
Yeah, well, thank
That was
you.
nice.
Mine kind of tend to go off pattern here, so that's why I enjoy having like true fans of whatever genre come in, because I know you're going to do the ones probably that are really important to the show and really brought a lot to it. I like to do some stuff that's fun.
No,
Um,
I think I'm somewhere in the middle because, like I said, I tried not to do like just the event ones.
yeah,
You know.
well, cool. All right, well, we're now at our true lists. Why don't you give me your number 5?
Okay. Okay. I'm going to give you a fun episode, but with a horrible title.
Oh, okay.
Hug. Do you remember Hug?
Was that the one with it would like it wasn't a clay face, but it was no, it was something else.
No, it's the one with it's the one with the two salesmen. It should have been called Shake because I don't know what they meant by hug. But yeah, so this is this one I am so nostalgic for because I know the whole series, but I really know those early ones the most because that's when I was in high school and I'd watch them over and over and over again. You know, when I started to get married and stuff, I didn't have the time like that. But Hug, oh my gosh, all of season 1 is so nostalgic. Some of the cheesier episodes, but I mean, so early 2000s, late 90s feel.
Yeah. That was a whole meteor freak of the week.
It was yeah. But this is a freak of the week one that I love, and I rewatched it recently. This is the one with the two salesmen, and one of them is hiding in the woods, and one of them has embraced it and can get you to do anything he wants.
Okay.
So the opener is when he shakes a guy's hand and he jumps out the window. So he basically got the guy to off himself. And then he goes, I'm heading to Smallville. So, oh great, what's he gonna do? So, the whole plot circles around him swindling Jonathan because he shakes Jonathan's hand, gets him to sell the farm, and then Lex has to try to step in to correct it. And Lex, it's cool because the guy has to shake your hand to change your mind. Yeah. But Lex never shakes his hand, not because he knows he's a freak, but because he's not gonna he's not gonna belittle himself. He's he's above that. And he doesn't shake his hand until the very end when he wins, because the guy's like, how about it, Lex, since you won. So at the end he shakes his hand and he ends up shooting Clark. I can't remember what kind of gun he has. It might be a 9mm, but he ends up shooting Clark at the end, but he doesn't remember anything. And then the other part of the episode is the good salesman. He's hiding in the woods and he basically tells Clark, like, hey, don't hide in the woods like I did. Embrace your abilities, do good in the world. So it's kind of like one of those, as you go through life, you hear from different people and you kind of, it's not one you hear from different people. And this was one of the people in Clark's, early years that I think kind of nudged him in the right direction. And this episode's full of fun stuff. Like at the beginning, they're on horseback and they're like, someone says something like Chloe or Lana says something about jobs. And he goes, well, I can't see myself putting on a suit and doing a lot of flying. Like there's fun little jokes like that all throughout. Lex calls Clark Atticus because he's like from To Kill a Mockingbird, because he's standing up for the guy in the woods when everyone else thinks he's bad. Cool slow-mo effects with him getting hit with the bat, like all that early effects stuff I love. And the best part is it ends with them in the loft, Lex and Clark. And they even show this in the finale when Lex getting his mind wiped and they show flashes. And this is the episode where Clark's like, Lex, they were once friends. You think we'll end up like that? And he goes, trust me, Clark, our friendship will be the stuff of legend.
True.
That's where that comes from, this episode. Yeah.
Wow.
So, I had to, I love season 1, all warts and all. So I had to include it.
Wow. Well, I seem to be veering toward the end because my 5th favorite episode is from season 8. It's episode 11, and it's called Legion, where three members of the Legion of Superheroes, Rock, Irma, and Garth, and this is where we first get to see Garth, and he goes across to the other arrowverse. You see him there and stuff, but this is the first time you really get to see them, and they travel from the future. I think it's the 32nd. I don't remember exactly.
It's something like that. 31st, 32nd.
Yeah. And this is right after Doomsday has attacked the wedding of Chloe and Jimmy, which just 2 seasons later she's with Ollie. But the Legion then has to help Clark battle this really, really bad dude called the Persuader. And it's really interesting, interesting, because this guy, we love Doomsday. We know that Superman was killed by Doomsday. In the comics, it was one of the greatest selling comics of all time. I still have my black bag version that I never will get rid of.
I was like 8 years old when so I was the perfect time. It was like 93, I think.
Yeah, it was on TV.
That whole run, news, it was everywhere.
Yes.
I was like, as a 8-year-old, I was like, oh my gosh, this is important. Like, it really was. I remember it. No, I mean, yes, it was. And that whole 90s run of Superman is my sweet spot. And then I know we're not talking about Batman, but at that same time, you had Bane breaking Batman's back. Like those runs were a big deal when I was a kid.
For sure. So I really liked this episode because it had such a different feel than a lot of the other episodes, because you had these three guys who I've read about in the comics all the time, but unless I'm mistaken, you've never seen them on screen like this, except for animated.
Yeah,
and
I agree. I think it was the first time in live action.
Yeah. And they're doing that thing where, this is where he's going to do that. Oh, but we can't tell him he's going to do that. So let's just watch and see. And it's done again in other shows and stuff, and it's done well as well. But this is really the first time where we really start to branch out. I mean, we know about Krypton. We've seen parts of that. I think, has he gone back in time to like the 60s already?
Are you talking about when it's Jor-El? And that one was in season 3.
Okay,
but
everything's been really Earth centric or
it
Krypton centric. So this is the first time you're like, what? We're like 12, 13 years in the future. So really enjoyed it. Like I said, really thought it was fun. Also, it was not the first time, but the fact that he just met and lost to Doomsday, and then this Persuader shows up and he kicks his butt all over again, really kind of hammered it home that he has to be a smarter hero, because it was one thing if he was beating up guys that were robbing a bank or knocking over a liquor store, but now these guys are powerful and more powerful than him.
Right. Once you go off Earth, it's a different game.
Right. So really enjoyed that one. Again, it's season 8, episode 11, Legion.
And you made me want to go back and check that one out, because it's been a minute for me. Before you move on from it though, I love how they do their costumes. Like, they have
just a little minimalist version.
Yes. And then I love that line where he's like, couldn't we be having this conversation in the sky? And he's like, Clark can't fly. And he's like, no flights, no tights. Like, he plays on the idea that we haven't unlocked everything. I love that.
Right.
And that was Jeff Johns that did that episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did that one. And after that episode, he came back and did the two-parter, the Absolute Justice, and then he did the Booster Gold one in season 10. So he came back once a year after that episode.
That Booster Gold one was so great.
Yeah, that had more of the comedic aspect too. That was a fun one.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, let's bump back over, and now we're ready for your number 4.
Okay. This one, I'm going to go season 2, episode 3, Duplicity. The one where Pete learns the secret.
Yeah. And he's mad.
Yeah. he handles it horrible in the beginning. But I love the way that happens organically because the ship is still lost. He finds it when Dr. Hamilton, which is played by Joe Morton from Terminator 2, awesome. He was awesome in the show.
Yeah.
He's been working
real life before. Standing next to him. I've met him in real life before.
Oh, wow.
Standing next to him on a street in Burbank.
It just happenstance?
Yep. I was like, hey, Mr. Morton, how you doing? And he was like, I'm doing good. I was like, cool. And that was
a very cool story.
Yeah. But he's got such a distinctive face.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. So no autograph, but still.
No, that's cool. And in my head, that's really cool that you just happen to run into him like that. Yeah. I always think of T2 though. Like that's like in my head.
So good.
One of the best death scenes. But
so good in Speed too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so many good movies. Sorry, but we digress as we often do.
But no, so he's been up until this point. He's been in episodes, and he's been working for Lex at Katniss Labs, discovering the meteor, dissecting the meteor rocks, and he's starting to get crazy and get this shake to him. And he's the one that runs the guy off the road. Pete saves the guy, pulls a Clark, saves the guy, finds the ship. When he finds it, the way Clark is trying to lie is awesome because it's so bad. He's like, what do you think it is? Like a Russian satellite? And then Pete's like, you're acting like you have license and registration on it. Like, come on, help me out. And he goes, he wants to bring it to his house because it's his, but he can't say it. And that whole back and forth. This is when the show for me, after season 1, and after the storm, like it started to find its groove a little bit more. And I love it for that. And when he actually reveals to Pete and stops the car, like, Clark has this moment. He's looking at Pete because Pete's like, whatever. He thinks he's just being a jerk because he wants the ship. And then Clark, there's this look in his eye, very Superman. And he's looking back and forth and then he just goes for it, stops Pete's car. Pete's looking back like, how did you do that? And and he's weirded out and all the things. And eventually Clark has to save him, and then Pete realizes the need for the secrecy, and obviously Jonathan is very against it at first, which he should be, because this was I think this was the first time that Clark actually told somebody, other than villains figuring it. Yeah. Like, what'd you say?
I believe you're right. I believe that Pete was the first person to know for sure by his own admission.
Right. Yeah. Because some people, like a villain, would find out he's powerful, but maybe doesn't know he was from Krypton. Like Pete learned the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I love how it starts with them playing basketball. And then that moment at the end with the music, and then Pete's like, well, what do you really got? And then he does that big dunk. Yeah. I love all that heartfelt stuff. Like, I that's so Superman because it's kind of cheesy, but I'm almost in tears. I love it. And it's so Superman, And there's actually several pivotal scenes, not just in this episode, but around the basketball goals that happen early on. There's another one that happens in season 1, I think, that we're going to talk about a little bit later on. But I'd forgotten that he and Pete were doing that at the end. So yeah, that's a great choice. Yeah, thank you. I love that one.
All right. Well, my number 4 is also another fun one. Again, the first time we see these people live action. I grew up watching them as cartoons. Shape of a bird, form of water. I'm talking about season 9, episode 8, Idols, where the superhero twins, Zan and Jaina, the Wonder Twins, they're striving to come and help the Blur. But sometimes when they're helping, they're really not doing that great. And it gets Clark in trouble, or the Blur in trouble with the district attorney. And the climax comes when Lois is hanging off the edge of a building, and all of the camera crews and everything are all pointing up, and Clark knows he can't rescue her without showing himself and revealing who he is, and he's like ready to do it. And then all of a sudden, Zan and Jane are the Wonder Twins. They realize the lessons that Clark has been telling them along the way, and they form a really cool like fog that comes in, and then Clark's able to save her and drop her onto the ground. And it was really cool because thank God there was no Gleep in the episode, by the way. But I grew up watching those as Super Friends, you know?
Yeah, Super Friends.
And it was so cool to see, and they didn't go crazy with it either. It was just like they weren't purple skinned and had Vulcan ears, or they were just two human looking people that happened to have powers.
And it still had that Smallville flair where it was kind of a grounded as much as you can be.
Yeah.
And one of them, the male he was from Seventh Heaven. I forget his name, but he was the kid in Seventh Heaven. That's where I knew him from.
Okay.
Yeah, the blonde-headed kid. And no, I'm glad you brought that up because, like I said, I know all the episodes, but I don't know that one as well as you, and you making me want to go back and check it out.
It's fun because, you know, they've got the whole Watchtower thing going on at this point. And I really think if the show had gone on, that we'd be seeing what we saw in the Arrowverse later on, which was, you know, all the different superheroes and whatnot coming back from different places.
It started to shift in that direction.
Oh, it did. Sure. It did. Because you had that whole episode where where Aquaman and Cyborg and the Kid Flash and they all show up to take care of that secret plant. But yeah, man, if it had lasted long, I think we'd see more of that. But I really, like I said, I really enjoyed this episode. As you could tell, I kind of like the ones that have a little bit more twist to them, a little more out of the box, a little breaking the formula a little bit. But as we get further in, you're going to see that that's not how all of my choices go.
I like it. Yeah.
So I had a chance to get there sooner. Let's now hear what your number 3 is.
Okay. Yeah. And before I get in there, before I forget about it, I like your picks, and you're right. Cause like the first 4 seasons of the show were very Smallville centered. And then 5, 6, and 7 went more to Metropolis.
Right.
And then the last 3 were in comic book territory.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of had 3 phases. That midpoint, it really did take a shift. And I'm glad we got 10 years because I think Tom Welling might be the person that's played Clark the longest.
I wouldn't doubt that he was because
Dean Cain got 4 seasons. Yeah, I'm thinking because Dean Cain and the last guy that played from the Arrowverse, they both got 4 seasons of a show. You know, Tom got 10. Reeves got 4 movies. Tom Welling, I think, has been in it the longest.
I would agree without going to the interwebs to find out. But I think you're definitely right.
Okay, but my number 3, for this one, I did have to hit a milestone episode because I rewatched it and I'm like, I'm handcuffed on this one. It's the Christopher Reeve episode.
Yes. Now,
that one has to be on it. The first one.
Is that Rosetta?
Rosetta.
We have a match.
You have a match. Wow. Oh, okay.
Yeah. But you go ahead and talk about it. Mine actually is at number 2. So what you don't cover, I'll cover when we get to mine. But bravo, sir. Good choice.
No, thank you. Rosetta. So I do like the second Christopher Reeve episode too, but this one, this is the big one. I love the opening with Clark floating in the cave, putting the disc key into the wall, and the way he's floating and doing it, and it looks really good. Like
Yeah.
even today. And pushing the key in, and then he wakes up and he's in the middle of the street.
Hmm.
He flew what he didn't sleepwalk, he slept flew.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I love how they played with that throughout the series.
Oh, I
That was
loved
really
when he
cool.
flew, when he was overtaken by his Kryptonian side, and
Uh-huh.
he just took off flying and caught up with Lex's jet, I think, and pulled the
Oh,
door.
Crusade. Yes.
Crusade. Man, when
Yeah.
he flew in that episode, I was like, God, I really need to see more of this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
we
that
did get a
was
lot
that was
of it.
awesome.
That was
Yeah.
so, especially the wake that he left behind him as he flew.
Mm-hmm.
That was just
Yeah, that was cool because we had not seen Superman fly in a post-Matrix era up into
right.
that point,
Yeah.
So it would have ripples around him. It would, like, that made sense. And
Yeah.
and what was another thing cool about Smallville is if they would have just given us everything up front, it
Mhm.
wouldn't have been as special.
We
You
have
know,
to
like,
see them growing and learning.
yeah, and they gave you hints of it, and they kind of teased you with it, and that's what kept it going. It was like, like a TV show where the two romantic leads never get together, and because
Yeah.
if they do, it's over. Like, I
Right.
loved how they teased us for some, and gave us hints of it, and then when we did get it, it made it more important and more fun. But anyway, going back to Rosetta, Clark is trying to figure things out, and he's got this feeling inside of him to go to that cave, right? And it's this God-given feeling. This is Jor-El, like he's got to put the key in it, and he
Right.
does it, and he gets downloaded, which is awesome. The way he does it, because it's like, what is going on? Like, it's like this big cyclone flowing through him. And then he can read. Now he can read the language, and he
Yeah.
can't control himself because he shoots that thing into the barn, and
Right.
then that alerts everybody. But it's cool because it alerts Virgil Swan, played by Christopher Reeve, who reaches out to him and says, "If you can read this, I have answers for you."
Yeah.
And this episode, they stay away from the teeny bopper stuff in this episode. I don't think Lana's in this one. I don't
think that she
No,
is.
wait. Is she? I'm trying to remember. Oh, I think if she is, it's definitely a B plot. Like this,
Yeah.
this is Clark's episode. And
Oh, maybe that's the one where they had run out of sweetener and she had to go to the next oh yeah, that was edge of your seat stuff. I'm sorry, it's Smallville. How many stories can you have in Smallville?
That's hilarious. But I love how it all builds, it's kind of a rough going over it, but I love how it builds to him right before he decides to go. He has a conversation with his parents, a very heartfelt conversation, when his dad's trying to tell him, they're both crying. He's like, "I don't want you can't." And then Clark's like, "I have to do this." He's like, "What if he exposes you? What if he has some ulterior motive?" And he's like, "I have to know where I come from. It's worth the risk. I have to go." And then Jonathan's like, "All right, we'll go as a family." And he's like, "Yeah, I gotta go alone." Like that, like, oh, I could just tear up. Like, and when he goes, they play the score from Superman the movie when he's going to find the fortress. Like, dude, come on. Like, whoever like thinks Smallville is just junk, watch this episode. Like, it's beautifully made. Like, it's over 200 episodes. You're gonna have some silly ones in there. You're gonna have but I can find you 20 hours of Smallville that are as good as any movie.
I agree.
But then he finally sees Chris Reeve, and he's like, "Clark, I've been expecting you." Oh, that back and forth, awesome scene. And there's no action scene in that, really, other than him burning the barn. Like, that's the big action scene, is that conversation. Right. And it's better than any action scene. It's perfect. Christopher Reeve tells him the message, and it's I should have it written down, but it's basically Earth, we present to you. This is Kal-El, the last son of Krypton, our last hope. Please protect him and deliver him from evil. And I kind of like how it's kind of got like a biblical little nod in there. I think that's pretty cool because there is ties with that, parallels with Superman. So I like that. And then Clark is still unsure of telling him everything. And he's like, well, then I'll never tell you the second part. And then Clark finally relents and tells him. And the second part is basically, do you remember exactly what the second part was?
No.
It's more, to me, the big part was the beginning of it, but it's basically,
was that a Kryptonian muffin recipe? No, that must have been something else. Never mind.
But, oh man, I love that. And then the real kicker at the end, and they borrowed this in the new movie, is when he gets back home, he plugs the heart into the ship, and then they find out that he tells them they're a flawed race, rule them with strength, my son, because Jor-El has put a second message in the ship. And then Clark is kind of freaking out, like, wait a minute, like, I think I was sent here to conquer. Now this is kind of like the more gray or dark side of the message, because the first message was all happy, this side is like, whoa, is it kind of more sinister, and the way Jonathan embraces him, kind of like how he said it's like a special needs kid. He's like, you're gonna be fine. He's like, but how do you know I won't become that? He goes, because I'm your father, I raised you and I know you better than anyone. And then the way he embraces him to reassure his son, but then it shows Jonathan and he is worried.
No,
I love that.
I am your son. Oh, wait. Totally.
Great series, by the way.
Yeah, I could go on and on about how great John Schneider was in this show.
I know.
God, he was firm, but he was yielding, and he was thoughtful, but he also sometimes just didn't get it. And who could get it? I mean, even though the kid is adopted, it's not like any other adoption ever in the world, so
he played it with heart and he played it real. And I arguably agree that I think he is probably the definitive Jonathan.
Yeah.
And I like how they made him a little younger.
Yeah. I really liked Pa Kent and Pa and Ma from Lois and Clark.
They were fun.
They were a lot of fun. Glenn Ford from the original Superman movie, I don't know. I just didn't get that same feel from it.
I like his death, though. His death was really good, the way he played it.
Yeah. Well, he was, such an amazing actor. But no, but that's a great one. I really like that. And like I said, I've got it on my list, and we're going to talk about that in a bit.
Awesome.
But, right now, I want to tell you what my number 3 is. Now,
I'm excited.
Automatically, when I say that I liked season 5, episode 6, Exposed, that's the one where Lana has to go and Lois has to go undercover in a male review show. That's great. Trust me, I like the ladies. But for me, the fanboy was when Tom Wopat shows up as his buddy, Senator Jack. And now you've got the Duke boys on the Kent farm. And they even tell a story about how they used to, run the back roads together in a car that was souped up, being chased by the police. And I'm just going, oh my God, this is so awesome.
That was cool. Really, and I'm assuming you grew up with the Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh my God, yes. Oh yeah. Okay. Every week, it was just, it was just so cool. It was almost like they would be going, and then go back to acting, because that was for the fanboys and girls.
That's fun. Yes. And I love that.
Yeah, I do too. And it was a lot of fun. And then at the end, I think it's the very end, but maybe close to it, when Senator Jennings is leaving, he gets into his car, which is a Dodge Challenger. I mean, a Dodge Charger, just like the General Lee. And
That's
so it's like,
cool.
come on, that's awesome, you know. But it was fun too on to see Chloe and Lois, Chloe and Lo. I guess you could call them Chlois if they were together. But they are trying to track down a woman who is framed.
Hmm.
Um, and no, not the woman is framed. The woman is killed, and
Hmm.
they're trying to break up the frame, and so they have to go into this. And at the same time, Clark is chasing his own lead about the senator, and they both end up at the club at the same time. And it was just when she comes out and starts to dance, she's so awkward. It was just, but it's almost like when she sees Clark, and I don't mean this in a sensual sexual way, but like when she sees Clark, she now has something that she can kind of focus on and not be all inside of herself and
Uh-huh.
blow her cover. And afterwards, when she walks by him, he's like, "What are you doing here?" "No, what are you doing here?" But it's just, again, it was a lot of fun. But I will definitely tell you, it was the Duke Boys for me because I just got so excited with them, and I like you
That's
watching them live.
yeah. I see. I love this because I could talk about yours all day long too. I like that episode as well. So Dukes at Hazard, I was that was like the
Not
generation
born.
before me,
Yeah,
but I still seen some episodes. My dad was a fan of it. I still appreciated it. I knew enough about it
yeah,
to appreciate his presence in the episode. And I caught like it's like the General Lee, and then there's a shot where the camera like the car goes over the camera
yeah.
when they're in the back roads and
Straight out of it, man.
straight out of it. Yeah. And the whole plot of the villain, it very like Lethal Weapon 2 with
Yeah,
like the diplomatic immunity thing and all that. It was more of a crime show that episode.
that episode. Yes.
Um, and it was more in the city. I like how they meet up, like you said. And just to be transparent, like when the show first started, I had a crush on Lana. Like Lana was the prettiest thing.
Eh,
But when Lois showed up, I was like, Lana, who?
yeah.
Like Lois stole my heart at when she showed up. Like from then on out, I was just my wife even knows like I had such a freaking crush on Erica Durance. And like I would nobody knew who she was but me because
Yeah.
if you didn't watch Smallville, you didn't know who she was.
And I differed from you. I was never a big Lana fan. I mean, I got it, but I didn't. But for me, it was Chloe at first because she was
Yeah.
nerdy, she was cute, she was sweet, she was a good friend, she was intelligent, she was empathetic. And then Lois came. But no, I'm with you. But they're all great actresses.
Yeah, and I liked Chloe as like the best friend. I
Mhm.
liked their relationship. I even named my firstborn Chloe, and I got the idea
Oh,
from Smallville. Yeah.
wow.
And you can guess what my son's name is.
Yeah, it's Christopher.
Nope. No, it's more on the nose.
Is it Clark?
It's Clark.
Yeah, I have picked the perfect guest for this episode, folks.
And then my daughter is Caroline.
I was thinking it was
My,
gonna be
my
Crypto.
middle daughter. So I have Chloe, Caroline, then Clark.
Yeah, I
And
was thinking Chloe,
Caroline,
Crypto, and
no,
then Clark. But,
well,
that's okay.
well, Caroline was kind of a joint venture because we kind of got the idea from Vampire Diaries, which is one that
Oh,
my
okay.
wife and I watched.
Okay, that's
But
very.
yeah, there's
Well,
a
all
little
right.
bit of
Well,
my lineage.
as a matter of fact, I think this is a perfect spot to stop and let's just talk about Superman and what brought you here and what I mean. You told us kind of, with your dad showing you some of those episodes, those movies early on. Again, 78. I'm watching it at the theater. I'm 8 years old.
Oh,
I
awesome.
truly believe a man can fly. I mean, that just wasn't a tagline. I mean,
Yeah.
people today don't realize how good they have it. I
Oh,
felt like that 8-year-old child when the first Matrix ended and he took off. I looked at my wife and I was like, Superman is back. And that technology, that cinematography,
yeah.
has just gone on and on. And of course, like we just said earlier, it was on Smallville, but for me to see him on the screen like that, and then 3 years later, I think it was, we see him again fighting the three Kryptonians from the Phantom Zone.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I lost it. You'll never get those kind of days back, because and I definitely don't think we're overwhelmed with superhero movies. I know there are a lot of them.
Yeah.
But back then, that was it, man. We were all flying around with towels hanging around our neck.
That's awesome that you actually saw it in the theater. My dad had seen it in the theater. But I discovered it on DVD, and it, even at that time, because I was born in the 80s, so I really grew up in the 90s. And there wasn't a lot of superhero stuff then. I mean, we had, if you want to talk about the big stuff, we had the Batman movies, right? Yeah. The 4 Batman movies. We had the Superman movies. We had Blade, one X-Men movie. That was it. Yeah. So the Christopher Reeve movie still packed a huge punch for me, because there wasn't much after it. No. And the Marlon Brando, the heart in that movie. Yeah, there's cheesy, funny stuff too, but I loved that movie. I watched it so many times. Like, that was kind of like my movie I would throw on when I would go to bed, because I would love to watch comfort movie. Yeah. Like the Krypton, Smallville, Metropolis. It was like 3 movies in one. And I love 1 and 2. 3 I can get through, because there's some stuff in it.
Yeah, 4, the split Superman.
That is an awesome scene.
That saves that movie.
It's like Richard Donner came in just to film that one scene. I don't know what happened that day. I don't know what came over them, but what they did in that junkyard scene was great. It's like,
plus the bar scene where he's sitting there with the peanuts.
Oh, when he's bad.
The bottles.
Yes,
it was such a heel, and it was it was uncanny to see it. Now that by that time I was a teenager, so it kind of had a different spin for me. Back then, Richard Pryor was it. I mean, he was comedy gold, and for what they put him in, he did a good job. Yeah, but they didn't have the same way that they could dive into the stories like they do now.
Right.
And it's just like with anything, even with 4 was supposed to be a much different movie, and the executives and they just came up, well, no, we need this, and it just it ruined it.
It's a shame, because it's a good concept, it's a good idea.
Yeah,
and
Killer Man,
yeah, and even seeing Superman in Before the Nations, that's it looks cool. Like, they kind of did some of that in BVS when he goes in that courtroom, putting Superman in that. That was kind of interesting, but yeah, it was superhero movies at that time in the 80s, they kind of died out, late 80s. And then kind of came back in the 90s, and then kind of went away. And then
thanks, Batman and Robin.
Yeah. But then Batman kind of brought it back too.
Bat nipples. Come on.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I've talked about that one with Nelson. When I was a kid, I didn't like the 4th Batman. But, when you were talking about Pryor, it kind of reminded me, I'd be like, man, that would it's kind of like how they had Jim Carrey in Forever. That was the comedy guy at that time. Made sense. Pryor's not the problem. He could have been fine with a better script around him.
That's very true. Very true. Yeah. And I did like the part of the script where, because again, for us at that time, the internets weren't really, the internet isn't really what it is now and stuff.
Right.
And so
it was
for him
unknown.
to come in and to figure out how to skim those fractions of a penny off, I was working on those, TRS-80 Model 3 computers from Radio Shack with the push buttons, and to think he could figure out how to do that and make all of this money. I mean, it was really.
There's good ideas in it. Mm-hmm. I know there's good ideas in it, and I understand what you mean by Radio Shack, but I don't know if all the listeners do.
Show
I
your
remember
shitty
Radio
butt.
Shack.
Back in the day.
Oh man, I when I was in college, I worked at a video store, and if
Uh-huh.
I talk when I talk about that, it's like talking about cowboys and Indians.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, when I was 18, I was managing a small video store. We used to have what was called VCPs, which were video cassette players. So they didn't have recording functions. It was just a player. And you would
Oh,
rent it, and it would come in a big Pelican case, and you would rent it and like three movies for $20 for the night. And I
wow.
mean, you think about it, that's how not rare, but nobody had like they do today. Like we're streaming from your phone, right?
Yeah,
I mean, what?
I
No, we didn't have
know
any
it.
of that stuff.
I,
So, yeah, I mean, it was a great time to be a kid. I'll
yeah.
tell you that. And yeah, I'm a Gen X, whatever. But it really was, and that's one of, not to get off on a tangent here, but that's one of the things
Oh,
why
preach.
I see kids these days that have so much anxiety,
Hmm.
and you think, well, God, what do they have to be anxious? They got everything in front of them. Yeah, they have everything, but they also are seeing it all right away. They're also, you know, doing. We did nuclear drills underneath like the top of the desk was going to save us from a bomb. But I mean, these are school shooters,
Yeah.
and these happen, and they happen a lot, so
Hmm.
it again, I could see it. That's why it was a wonderful time, to be a
Oh, I
kid.
mean, and like I said, I'm a little after you, but I mean, I was an early millennial.
Mhm.
I'd argue that I should be right before that because I remember before the internet, I was the last generation that remembers life before the internet, and
Yeah.
I feel like I grew up 100 years ago. Like it's nice we would never be able to do this video like this,
No, no.
this stream. And so, I mean, it's like there's good and bad with it. Like,
Sure.
but I do miss the days, like you said, you had to go to a video store. Everything was a bigger deal. And
It
I
was.
miss that.
Yeah.
Like going to the movies was like it was like an event.
You
And
had to
now they
make a
just,
choice. You couldn't just
yeah,
flip through and find something. No.
everybody,
Okay, this
everything
is
was a
what we're going to
bigger
get.
deal.
It really
Yeah.
was. It
I
really
miss
was.
that. Like we had less, but it was, there's good and bad,
Yeah.
because I love being able to navigate driving on my phone, like with the maps and all that. Back in the day with, I was a pirate, before.
Yeah. We did the same thing. I would have maps for every major city we
Yeah.
would go to, and I would look them up and then put those little bitty dots. I would put the dots on them to the places we want to go, and have to sit there and map everything out. And then, my wife didn't really like driving in the big cities, so she's had to navigate from the sign. And I love her, but she ain't no ways. But yeah,
I know
but
it's
even so,
crazy.
it's a great time to be alive now.
Yeah.
There's so much instant gratification, instant knowledge, just
Yeah,
awesome.
it's really interesting to, I'm at the age now where I'm like, you really start to appreciate that and
Hmm.
everything that comes with it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Wow. Well, so do you cosplay?
I mean, I like going to cons and stuff.
Uh huh.
I'm not at that level, but I think it's cool.
Yeah. I've seen some really cool Clark cosplays where, they have like the shirt underneath, and then it's pulled open and they walk around. You kind of got that
Yeah.
look. You could kind of pull
Oh,
that off, Yeah,
appreciate
you better
that.
try.
Yeah. I love going to cons and dressing up with the kids and stuff, but no, I appreciate that. Thanks.
Just saying, you could be Clark, the wife could be Lois, and the three could be, the Legion. Just saying. Just saying.
Hey, hey, you're just full of great ideas. I
I'm
gotta
full of
go.
something.
I'll see you later.
Oh. Well, all right. Well, I think if you're ready, I think we're ready to get to the part where everyone in Hungary is sitting on the edge of their seats, waiting to hear what our penultimate choices are.
All right.
So why don't you start off and give me your second favorite Smallville episode?
All right. I'm gonna pull a U. I'm gonna go further out. I'm gonna go season 10,
Okay.
episode 4. I'm gonna go Homecoming.
Oh, okay.
Homecoming's
Yeah.
a fun one.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
That's Lois's homecoming, right?
Well, it's Clark's homecoming to go back to Smallville High, and that's part of the fun, is that Lois goes with them.
Right, okay.
And nobody remembers who she was because she was only there for like 20 days.
Yeah, because her dad was moving around with the military.
Yeah. So,
that's it.
Yeah, Homecoming's a fun one. In the last season, like I said, season 10's kind of a reunion season. It's like the whole season's that way. And it starts off with Brainiac, and you're like, wait a minute. Like, this is interesting. You go back to Smallville High, which we've kind of been away from for many years. And there's this teacher that kind of comes off like maybe she's a meteor freak. And she's talking about all these kids that talk about all these victims. They all talk about the same guy. And there's like a little statue of Clark Kent with the red jacket. And then Brainiac walks in and does his mind thing with his finger. And you're like, what is going on here? But it's not the Brainiac we knew. It's Brainiac 5, which your buddy's the Legion reprogrammed.
Right.
And now he's good.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's kind of like a Terminator 2 thing. And he basically, it's a Wonderful Life with Brainiac and Clark. And he takes him through his life to show him where he went wrong, and helps him get rid of his demons so he can be who he needs to be. Yeah. And what a cool idea. Like, you would argue maybe they're, towards the end of the show, like, is there that many ideas like that left? Well, this was an awesome one. And the backdrop of it is him and Lois, they're almost denied him. They're kind of off and on. And Lois goes with Clark to Smallville High as like the homecoming. And like I said, it's funny because no one knows who Lois is, and they play that up a lot. Clark, of course, they know who he is, but he's the opposite. He doesn't want the glory. He doesn't want the popularity. And they even crown him homecoming king, and he just has this look on his face like, when is this going to be over? And Lois is glowing. She's loving it.
Yes.
So it's like opposites attract, because she's loving all of it, and he's like, I can't wait to go home back to the farm. And they actually show the Bug Boy Meteor Freak from season 1, episode 2.
Oh, okay.
And he's in it, and his car says arachnid on the license plate, and you're like, what's going on here? Is he going to crash it? But at the end, you basically find out he's like, no, I straightened my life out, and I just wanted to tell Clark thanks. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, it's bringing it full circle. Yeah. The coolest part is you revisit the Jonathan Kent fighting Lionel Luthor, which added the strain to his heart right before he died. You get flashes to Lana when she said, what are you, man or Superman? He revisits the Wall of Weird, which was Chloe's stomping ground, and they meet these two new kids who talk about the Wall of Weird is still alive. It's just on a phone now. It's all digital. And it's cool because they were it was like 2011. So it was starting to kind of get that way in reality.
Just like it was in real life.
Yeah. Just like,
we were learning to use the web and posting up stuff like that. So that was great.
Yeah, that was cool. And at that point they're talking about the blur, and that's when he was doing that. And, he was kind of unsure of where to go. And he gets these little member berries that help him go the right direction. The biggest being from Brainiac. But then my favorite part of the episode is Brainiac has the Legion ring on, and he's talking to Clark, but Clark, being Clark, is too impatient. He grabs him and he gets teleported to the Daily Planet.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, he's been there before. He's in the Daily Planet. And when he walks by the news rack, it says Superman saves the day.
Yeah.
So he's transported to 2017, which at that time would have been like 5 years later, because this it's 2011. So he's in the future when Superman is like active, and Lois runs into him and thinks that it's the Clark of her time.
Right.
So she's messing with him and she's saying, like, where's your glasses? And she's going like this to like remind him to put him on. There's a lot of fun back and forth.
Yeah.
But then the kicker is when Clark gets in the elevator and the Clark of that time is in the elevator as Clark Kent with the glasses, with the trench coat.
Yeah.
And he's got like that nerdy approach. He's very direct. And it's the Superman of the, like, he's talking to Superman. And as a kid, I was like, dude, like, cool. That's up there with me with him ripping the chest out like that. Yeah. I was like, this is so cool and very sci-fi. And he's like, think it through, time travel. And our Clark is like, oh, because you were once me when that whole thing, like you were once me when I was in this situation. And he's like, think it through. He's like, look, I can't be in two places at once. I think there's a bomb or something. And then he's like, you got to go on the roof because there's a helicopter thing going on. And then he just zooms and you see like through the window, you see like barely kind of see like a suit. Like it's like a Superman suit, but it's very fast. Remember, they tease us this whole series. Yeah. I love that though. I love it, Yeah. And you see him in the distance flying around the obstruction, which kind of reminds me of Reed flying around the Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool. And then Clark goes up and saves Lois with the whole helicopter thing falling. So he kind of does the Superman thing too from the movie. And then Brainiac shows up and he's like, you got the point, but I wish you would have like let me lead you through it. But dude, I love that episode. Such a fun episode.
That's a great pick. That's a great pick. All right. Well, my penultimate, as we've discussed earlier, not only is it Rosetta, which was season 2, episode 17. Again, you covered it so well. I literally got chills when Christopher Reeve came out there.
Absolutely.
Again, growing up with that guy, he was Superman. I mean, just on and off the screen. Everybody who I've ever talked to just says he was an amazing person. And then for that to have happened so senselessly to him, and then still he came back,
Yeah.
He's all about Superman, So that was a great, great episode. But the other episode comes in season 4, and it's the premiere episode of that season. That's when we get to see Lois Lane as from the movies with her Superman, so we get to see Margot Kidder, and it's also the episode where your love for Lois Lane must have started, because that's the first episode when she shows up.
You're right. Yeah.
So it was a very, very cool, very powerful, because it's kind of a passing of the torch, just like they had done with Superman, with Christopher Reeve to Tom. They did it from Margot to Erica.
That was so cool. Them being in the same episode, debuting in the same episode.
Yeah, it really was, and that's one of the things that I liked about the WB series is that once they caught their stride, they gave us all of this stuff that a fanboy or girl wants. And they did it in such a way that if you weren't up with the history, it was just a great episode. But if you knew that was Lois and that's Lois and all, it's just that much more.
It played on 2 levels.
Very much so. And I was so sad, that when he passed, because he really was like a hero, not just on screen, but off. And so for him, in that state to still say, no, I want to go and be this important part of this because what you guys were doing was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because that's got to take a lot for you to go back onto a screen, onto a stage when you used to could do all of these things, and now you're in this chair. Um, but he still was so powerful through that screen. It's
Oh
like
yeah,
nothing could stop him.
he's a
And
class A actor.
oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Um, and he, like you said, he couldn't move, but he still brought that. I mean, you can't take your eyes off of him. Like
No,
he still brought that presence, and
yes,
like he's one of those celebrity deaths that like wow, it's like somebody he's up. He's one of the greats. Like you don't feel that way about all of them, but him for sure. Like
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it's who when you think of Superman, you still think of him.
I always do. You
Yeah.
know, him and when Prince passed away, those are the two
That yeah, I can see that being a
that
big one
had
too.
most. Because I was such a huge, again, 1984, Purple Rain,
Mm-hmm.
14. It's just so much. But
Yeah.
you know what? That's our penultimate choices. What we are ready to hear right now is your absolute favorite Smallville episode.
Wow. And to be fair, like it's 200 and some episodes. It's very hard to narrow it down. And arguably, you know, any of these last three I've discussed, they could have all moved
Yeah,
around. Like
constantly.
it, because like it's hard. It's very hard. But I am going to go with Memoria.
Okay. That's
Heavy episode. Season 3. This one's actually kind of towards the end, and I'd be remiss if we didn't mention Al Goff and Miles Miller.
oh
Like
yeah.
they're because we keep talking about like how they would orchestrate, bring in Lois and certain characters in. Like they are the creators of the show. I mean, obviously, we got to go back even further to the two Jewish boys that created Superman.
Mhm.
Jerry Siegel and Joe Schuster. Is
Yes. I think that's
that
correct.
they like?
Easter
Yeah, they're the pioneers, like obviously. But as far as like in the 2000s, like what Al Goff and Miles Miller did, like they orchestrated and came up with this whole way to bring small Superman to a modern audience, and they did the first 7 seasons of the show.
Yeah.
And a lot of that, like bringing certain characters in and all the winks and the nods, like a lot of that was them. And this Memoria episode was directed by Miles Miller, which is
Yeah.
one of the two that created the show. And this one, it's not one of the, and I like the teen episodes too, where it's like, oh, he likes her, but she likes him, and the love triangle stuff like that has a place.
It does.
But this one, it doesn't do any of that. Don't even think I don't think Lana is in it, and Jonathan's not in it either because he was busy prepping for Talisman, which is the episode he directed. But this it was cool because it gave Martha some more. But yeah, long story short, this is a very Lex centric episode. But Clark has an awesome moment at the end.
Okay.
It's basically, this is in season 3, towards the end, when Lex, the whole him being in the asylum and losing his memory, and because he found out his father killed his grandparents, right? That whole thing. Lex is trying to get those memories back. So he enlists the help of the doctor at Summerholt Institute, the one that we had learned about in that Ryan episode, and he came back in Delete, which was the one with like the disc and the girl that was making people go crazy. A mind altering thing. He goes back to that doctor. It's the same doctor that was in those other episodes, and he's using like a kryptonite bath with like other stuff to help get back those 7 weeks or so that he lost.
Right.
And when he's doing this, you were getting a trip down memory lane with like all these early memories of Lex, and it's tragic what Lex went through. Like, it starts with, his Lionel, I mean, all the bells and whistles, this huge birthday party, and nobody comes. Yeah. And devastating, especially as a kid.
Yeah, especially.
As an adult, you'd get over it. But as a kid, that's like a canon moment. Like that.
Honestly, as an adult, sometimes you want it.
Yeah, sometimes you want. I tell you, like, I appreciate my alone time so much. Like, I totally, like, when my wife's like, "Oh, the plans were canceled," I'm like, "Say less." I'm a homebody. Like, I love going out, but I'm a homebody, man. I like being in my fortress of solitude.
There you go.
But but then it gets worse, like, for Lex, because then you meet his mother, and the unhealthy relationship she had with Lionel. They did a good job of making Lionel look young because his hair is short and stuff. And you get the tragic stuff of Julian. It's that, I mean, as a parent, I can't think of anything worse, right? Yeah. And basically, long story short, like, Lionel blames Lex for the death of his infant brother because Lionel goes to the crib and Lex is staring over it, and they show the baby, like, deceased. It's for, a teeny bopper show. Watch this one and then come back and say that, Yeah. It's heavy, but then you learn the real truth was that the mom killed the baby because she didn't want him raised by the devil, Lionel.
Yeah.
And Lex took the fall for his mother because he knew Lionel wouldn't hurt his son. Like, dude, that is Sopranos. That is, like, major stuff going on there. That's Game of Thrones. That's all that. That's very deep stuff there, man. And basically, this whole time, Clark is trying to figure it out. He follows Lex to Summerholt, and Lex is like, "What are you doing?" Like, because Clark just ran to find him. So he basically put his identity at risk to try to help his friend. But it's awesome because Clark is acting altruistic, but then he confronts Lionel, and Clark is like, "I'm just looking out for my friend." And Lionel's like, "Really?" And he pulls the footage of Lex saying, "I know your secret," from the from the Shattered or Asylum episode, Asylum.
Uh-huh.
And it's cool because it's like continuity. It's pulling back from a way further back episode. Like, yeah, Superman's trying to do the right thing, but he's being a little biased as well because he knows if Lex uncovers certain memories, he'll know who he is. Right. So it's cool. It's like kind of shades of gray here. And then the episode, it's fun. Is it coming back to you?
Yeah.
Do you remember that one? Yeah. And a cool thing is you get a nice Easter egg nugget at the end when Clark gets apprehended by the Summerholt people, and they're like, "Throw him in." And you get when they sent him off in the ship.
Yeah.
You get the father, you get Jor-El saying, he'll be strong and he'll be this. And then the mom's like, Laura's like, "What if they don't love him?" Like, saying what more of the feminine side would say. And then you hear the ship close up, and then it shoots back to Clark, and he's like, "Laura, Laura," like screaming it. And then Lex saves Clark. And then the end of the episode is he tells Martha what happened, and she said, "Clark, your first words were Laura." Oh. So it's a deep episode. It's nice.
I remember the flashback of when he was a kid. Those were a lot.
Yeah, so it's a Lex-centric episode, but Clark gets a very special moment in there when you see the ship, and then when Martha tells him that was his first. That chokes you up. I loved it, man. Yeah.
Well, if that chokes you up, my ultimate favorite episode is gonna really hit you hard. We've talked about the powers, we've talked about the guest stars, the aliens, all of those things that made this show great. But I think you will agree that it was the family that was at the center of this show. It's his real family. It's the family that adopted him. It's his family of friends that he chooses to be around him. those are really what pushes Clark to be Superman. Otherwise, he could have taken over the Earth and ruled it with an iron fist and all that stuff. But it's his
That's
parents.
like the Red Sun comic arc, like where he lands in
Exactly.
Russia. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So there are two episodes that are my number one. And I can't talk about one without the other. So yeah, I'm going to break my own rule, but it's my show. So what are you going to do about it? So the first episode is actually way back from season one, episode 16, and you've already mentioned it. It's the episode Ryan, and it's where
Mhm.
Martha hits Ryan James, this kid, with her car. Nobody can find his guardian, so she ends up bringing him home, and he can read people's minds. Now, he can't read Clark's mind. He doesn't know quite why yet. But as he spends more time with the family, he learns Clark's secret. And not just does he learn it, he keeps it. When his stepmom and her boyfriend, who have been using Ryan to scam people, finally show up, and it's not his superpowers that save the day. It's not his heat vision or his cold blast. Corny as this sounds, it's his heart.
Oh, absolutely.
He has
Yeah.
come to love this little kid like a little brother. And when things start to go down for him, he's protecting him like family. And it's really, really powerful to me because of the way, because Clark grew up. Not only was he an only child, but he was isolated from a lot of children because of, what could happen. He didn't
Hmm.
really get to play sports until he forced his dad into letting him go on what was it, the Ravens team? The Crows. The Crows.
Yeah.
So there's a whole scene on the basketball court at the barn where he and Ryan are talking, and they form this bond, and eventually they find an aunt who will take care of Ryan. And then
Hmm.
that episode ends, and you're like, man, oh, that was so sweet. And then come the second season, we have an episode. That episode was called Stray. And so then this episode is called Ryan, where Ryan is at Summerholt,
Hmm.
and you're like, well, wait, well, he was with the aunt. Well, you find out the aunt just couldn't quite deal with it. And these people came in and like, hey, we'll help you out. We're a special place and we'll help him to be a better person. So she thinks she's doing good, but no, they're experimenting on him. And Clark is like, he comes in there, finds him, just that's his little brother.
Yeah.
And then you find out that Ryan has a brain tumor, and all of that stuff is causing him. And then, so they bring him back to a real hospital in Metropolis, and again, he's hearing everybody he doesn't want to hear in the brain. So what does Clark do? He comes up with a great idea. He rents a hot air balloon and takes Ryan up above everybody else so that it's just them and the operator. And he gets peace and he gets quiet. And then things start to turn, bad for Ryan. And then there's that scene where Clark shows up to see him, looks through the window, and the bed is empty. And it's like, wow, he suffered so much loss. And
Yeah.
now again, he's just hammered. And it's my favorite episode, two episodes. It is not my favorite Tom Welling scene, but it is definitely my favorite episode because that shows that he is more human than Kryptonian. And that's
Ooh.
to his parents. That's all due to his parents and the way Jonathan and Martha raised him.
Very well said.
Yeah. Well, thank you. So, do you want to know
And
what my favorite Tom Welling scene is?
can I elaborate a little bit on the
Oh, yes,
Ryan?
please, please go right ahead.
Because the I pairing those two together is a brilliant idea because they very much are sequel. It's very much a sequel to it.
Bookends.
And that, I mean, great picks. I love the Ryan and the Stray episode. If it would have opened up to like a top 15, I probably would have put it in, but it should be in there.
Use the T word. Can you use T word on the show the first time?
That was my free one.
That's your free one.
That's my free one. But those are great episodes. And I like how at the end of Stray, how they played the 5 for fighting, the Superman. Yes. It's not easy to be me, like that whole thing. And the whole bowling ball through the wall, that was like a different, like I hadn't seen that before that.
Yeah.
But there's so much heart to that episode. Both of them, they're both great. And Clark risks everything, like you said, when he goes in there to get him. And how Superman is that? Like, he doesn't have the ability to fly yet, but he still took him to the sky.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly one of the things that I was thinking about in a different circumstance. How Christopher Reeve took Margot Kidder flying above there with nobody else around the two of them. He does it without the power of flight, and he says, "Man, this is the best day of my life." Before he dies.
Great picks, man.
Oh, thank you. You had some excellent ones. But I do want to share my favorite Tom Welling scene.
Oh, go for it.
And it is actually from the Arrowverse episodes. I'm not sure exactly which one it was. But John Cryer's Lex Luthor has the Book of Destiny. And he's jumping across multiverses. And he jumps in, and there's Tom Welling, older, more mature, not bulked up, but,
the brawny Tao guy.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly what he looked like. And then you find out he gave up his powers for his children. And Lex ends up stepping on like a Hot Wheels car or something. And it blows Lex's mind. He's like, how in the world would you give up your powers? And he's just like, eh. Oh, and then when he takes, I'm going to kill you with this kryptonite. And just throws it. It was perfect.
And then he punches him. He still beats him without powers.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And I wasn't as vast in the Arrowverse, because it was just so many episodes. But I did watch that one, and I appreciated that. And he's wearing blue kryptonite.
Yeah.
So,
Wait, he's wearing what?
So he has blue kryptonite around his wrist. And in the series, remember, the blue kryptonite restricted his abilities.
I never caught that. I thought it was just turquoise.
He's wearing blue kryptonite.
Get the hell out.
Isn't that cool? And that's a callback to season 7, like when they. Wow. That was That's awesome. And then Erica Durant is in it too, and all that. Yeah. So it's awesome. Yeah.
Oh, that's a great one. Wow.
Nice pull.
You have really brought it. I'm so glad that we got to do this together, because you're just the Smallville pro, and it's Fade by Night. You're a super game.
I had a blast, man. This is fun to me. I'm a kid. I'm a kid on a playground right now.
So many people tell me how hard it is. Was it hard for you to get this down to just the 5 plus your 2 honorable mentions?
I mean, it was somewhat. What I would do is I made a list of like 10 or 15, and then I kind of got away from it, dwindled it down. And I've done a lot. I've done some with Nelson and stuff, so I was used to the whole kind of narrowing it down. But I just tried to focus on, these are the ones that are pulling me, and then my reasons why. And I think I put together a decent list, and I love yours too.
Amazing list, man. I mean, it's so great. For me, I do the same kind of process. So I made a list of about 20 episodes, and I'll tell you right away, Ryan I knew he was going to be on that list, and I knew he was probably going to be either 1 or 2. Because as soon as I reread that synopsis, I was like, oh my God. I mean, all of that came back to me,
Yeah.
And the whole thing, I think, about Smallville was that it was never supposed to be a show about Superman.
Mm-hmm.
It was a show about Clark and his family and learning to become what would eventually be Superman. And
Mm-hmm.
there's, I think, no better episode than Stray and Ryan to show that he would be Superman, that he would put everyone else above him and would do whatever it would take. Um,
Yeah.
and I just can't go on, you know.
No,
And I rewatched them when I was in Florida, just to
mm-hmm.
make sure I wasn't just being, all misty eyed about it. And I was still
Yeah.
like, oh, man, and that little kid was great.
Oh, he was an awesome actor.
Yes.
And you presented a great argument. I mean, those are awesome episodes, the two Ryan ones, and I'm glad that you brought them to light.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm really glad I brought up the arrowverse one because I did not know that about his bracelet.
Yeah.
I
It's
just
pretty
in my
cool.
head when he said that, I thought maybe he'd gone up to the, done a whole
Superman 2
thing,
thing.
yeah. Which still I miss to this day the super, where he could pull off his symbol and throw it. I was like, wait, what? where does that come from?
That'd be
Even,
that'd be I know.
yeah, it's crazy.
That would be funny. I'm surprised that that no one ever tried to bring that back in a more realistic way. I am very surprised Smallville didn't do that somewhere.
Yeah, that was one of those moments, that
Yeah.
you'll never forget. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to make this list, Dominic. And like I said, you were just a super guest. And thank you so much. And I also want to thank all of you out there for tuning in to this episode of Fave 5 for Fans. We hope you enjoyed flying right into the plastic microphone studio with us. If the episode resonated with you, then think about telling someone. Maybe go online and shout it at the rooftops about how awesome Dominic and Jamie are. If not, then maybe just go and leave us that all-important 5-star review, because it really does help us, and it's something free that you can do. I do also take cash donations. Your reviews do generally help us to get out there so to let more people know about us. We're also on all the social medias, except, well, we still do. Maybe just haven't got on Mammoth yet. I don't know if that's still a thing. But my MySpace page is killing it this week, so check that out. Thanks for being a part of the Fave 5 family. We've got more great episodes coming your way, so we'll catch you next time. And don't forget, folks, new episodes come out every Friday.
Unless they don't.
What? Dude, you got to stop talking to Nelson. So be sure to subscribe and follow us so you can catch all of the episodes. And remember, folks, it may not be the best. It may not be the most popular. But if it's your favorite, then that's good enough for us. Mr. Dominic, take us out.
Look up.
It's a ceiling fan, dude.